I think something that for our audience that really applies to this is subcontractors. Inside of that, you have the employees, but
Right.
for some of our listeners, for every one employee they have five subcontractors. So what is the process of managing? Let's talk about managing those subcontractors. Obviously, they're not employees, and it's really important that you distinguish that they're not employees.
Yeah.
I know Martin's got some stories around that.
Yeah.
Uh,
For
but
sure.
yeah, let's kind of distinguish how we can best manage our contractors, support them, what processes we need for them, contracts, those kinds of things that still may fall under the HR role.
Certainly. So I would say that the consultant reviewing those contracts is going to be huge because and I've seen some horror stories as well where some subcontractors have said, well, there was even a lawsuit recently, for example, where there were some contractors, I think it was Microsoft, and they were getting like t-shirts, like swag from the company. And they actually won a court case that said that no, you have to call them employees because they're getting these little
Because they
perks.
got swag.
Yes, yes.
Oh
I
man.
I swear. Yeah. Truth is stranger than fiction sometimes. But yeah, it's very important to look at to assess the contract itself, as far as the consultant, as well as again, just looking at, okay, sure, we want to treat them well, but we need to be very careful about every little thing that, I mean, even the trainings we're giving them, if we're having them sign off on anything, this really needs to be airtight to make sure they don't have cause later to say, I should be, you know, I should be receiving benefits. I should be part of the company. I should be an employee as opposed to a contractor.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Martin, why don't you share with our audience the story of someone who was paying people as 1099s and then had a ruling that they should have been paid as employees?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Everybody did it. So he had everybody's at 1099 and literally said, hey, I have to keep track of overtime and let those guys pay their taxes, blah, blah, blah. And I can't remember. I have to print it off. So I can't remember all the penalties that he paid. I mean, he paid their unemployment, right? I mean, not unemployment, their FICA FUTA SUTA 14.
Right.
He had to pay that. He had to pay interest on that. He paid
Oh
a
wow.
fine on the taxes that he did. I can't remember everything.
I
But
I
anyway,
I remember a pretty big number, and there was another one, lady business owner who was doing the same thing, and it was like I want to say like 70 grand per employee and per contractor or
yeah,
employee that she
yeah,
ended up having to pay.
Wow.
yeah.
So
And people just do that all the time. And we don't really need to make this a form on 1099 versus W-2, but they say, well, he's got his own truck. No,
Yeah.
no.
well,
I
I
get it.
mean,
there's
one
there's
thing is,
another
does he
thing
have an LLC?
there's
Go
another
ahead.
thing that goes in the handbook, driving your own vehicles and
Oh, yeah.
insurance, and you're agreed to that you're going
Yeah.
to pay for your insurance and all that
And
kind of
if
stuff.
you get an advance, do I have the form filled out so that I can deduct that from your future checks? And
Yeah.
anyway, on the 1099 thing, many, many, many 1099 folks are really W-2. And the
Oh
fact
yeah.
that they have their own chainsaw and a truck doesn't do it, right? Do they bill you? Do they have an LLC? Do they carry their own liability insurance? Do you essentially tell them when and where to be? Or did you give them a contract and say, get that bridge built by Friday, and then they schedule it? And the one that I really like that's in the SS8 form from the IRS, do they have a significant chance of losing money?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
If you're just paying them for the hours, they're just getting paid. If they're really a contractor and they agreed to build that bridge by Friday and they mess it up, they can lose money.